just read you something really quickly about what is inside of this pact that is now being accepted by 193 nations around the world and equally open-armed accepted by our current administration. Everyone, it says that this is the power structure, fully digital and maximized for the control of the masses. Everyone will be expected to have a biometric digital ID that marks them not just as citizens of an individual country, but as a global citizen. So anytime you hear global citizen or anytime you hear sustainability, think that this is an egregious thing that's happening at the level of the World Health Organization and the United Nations. Anyone that has a dissonant opinion will be labeled as misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation and memory hold. Perpetrators for unapproved information will be fact-checked and punished by the system, which will be operated and enforced by artificial intelligence. Punishments will include being locked out of one's bank account, being unable to make certain purchases, unable to get on an airplane, on a subway, drive on public roads. This is the future, according to the world's self-appointed overlords at the United Nations. These are unelected bureaucrats that are making decisions about our country, our sovereignty around the world. Nothing could be more important at this point in time than to get prepared. Have water, food, digital access, flashlights, a way to communicate with family and friends. Now is really the time to get involved and get prepared, because this is what's coming.
The Israel-Iran conflict is an inside job by the globalist elite, who are working to ensure the conflict will light the fuse to ignite a holy war that will spiral out of control into World War III and lay the groundwork for the elite to usher in a one-world government of the New World Order. According to an insider, recent events in the Middle East, including the Israel-Hamas war and now the conflicts with Iran, have been planned by the global elites and are now playing out to the letter, with the ultimate goal of shaping the world in their own image.
A war that will be so terrible, where nuclear weapons will be used, so that the American citizens and the other people in the world will get down on their knees and beg for no more war. And what is the answer to that? They're going to be told the only way we can guarantee no more war is if we destroy the sovereignty of nations and we come together as one humanity in a one-world government.
Is that the dominoes have been falling exactly the way the global elite have been planning for centuries. That's right. This plan has been in the works for over 100 years. A chilling letter that predicted the First and Second World Wars also claimed a third global war would be fought between Israel and the West and the Muslim world. Albert Pike wrote the letter 152 years ago, detailing how the elites plan to launch 3 world wars to seize total control of humanity. Pike's predictions for World War I and World War II were uncannily accurate. So perhaps more people should be paying attention to what he said about the third.
What are the 5 characteristics of the peace agreement between the Israelis and the Palestinians that starts the final 7 years? There will be a 2-state solution created. The Jews living out in that 2-state solution will be allowed to live there as a Jewish minority. The Temple Mount will be placed under a sharing arrangement. Israel will build her 3rd temple, and Israel will retain control of Jerusalem throughout that final 7-year period.
You can't even start the process of the final 7 years, if you will, in Scripture until the temple is operating. Because we know, and most all theologians would agree on the last days, that when this temple, the sacrifices are being resumed in this 3rd temple, there's 3.5 years, and then the Antichrist, according to Daniel 9, stands in the temple, stops the sacrifices, and says, all right, no need to sacrifice anymore. I'm the Messiah. I am here, the fulfillment of this. And that is where the Antichrist deception begins. So if you want to just look at the final timeline, we have to have this red heifer. And it's interesting because they would sacrifice, the red heifer will be sacrificed on the Mount of Olives across the Kidron Valley. And they're going to have be able to see the eastern gate while they sacrifice the red heifer. And of course, the eastern gate is the gate Christ went through into the temple. And it's amazing because you think of the red heifer and then you think of how it represents Christ. Spotless, blameless, without blemish. And so they have procured the land on the Mount of Olives to actually, and the approval to have the sacrifice there. And they are planning on it. I can't give you dates yet until they announce it, but they're planning on doing it, I'll say this, in less than 12 months from now.
Today, we're diving deep into a topic that is shrouded in mystery, conspiracy, and prophecy, the red heifer of Israel. Why are global powers so obsessed with this rare red cow? And could it be part of a larger hidden agenda linked to the end times? Let's uncover the secrets that the mainstream isn't telling you. The red heifer, or para adama in Hebrew, isn't just any cow. It's an ancient symbol of purification in Jewish tradition, required to rebuild the 3rd temple in Jerusalem. This isn't a random coincidence. It's part of a carefully orchestrated plan that some believe is tied to powerful groups pushing for a prophetic outcome. The red heifer must be flawless, completely red without a single blemish. For centuries, attempts to breed this perfect cow have failed. But today, secretive efforts funded by influential groups are bringing this prophecy closer to reality. What's driving this sudden urgency? Who's behind it, and why now? Recently, 5 red heifers were flown from the United States to Israel, under the watchful eyes of religious leaders and secretive organizations. These cows are being raised in strict, controlled conditions, their every move monitored to ensure they remain perfect. But who stands to gain from this? Some believe this is not just about religious rituals. It's about power, control, and setting the stage for the end times. The timing of these events is no coincidence. As global tensions rise, wars rage, and society faces unprecedented moral decay, the push to fulfill ancient prophecies is accelerating. Powerful elites, secret societies, and shadowy figures are working behind the scenes, playing their part in a prophetic drama that could change the world as we know it. But this isn't
something that was minted by the Institute for Knowledge of the Temple, and it has a picture of King Cyrus in the background, who was very influential in the rebuilding of the temple, the Second Temple. It has President Trump in the foreground, and on the back, it has a picture of the temple itself. We hope that the declarations of both Cyrus and Trump will lead to the rebuilding of the Third Temple.
When is the building?
Very soon. We've already started.
Yeah?
Yes.
And when it's due to be completed?
That depends on how fast the workers work and how quickly we can collect the money from the treasury.
$1 billion or 300,000? For a minute, do you really consider the embassy move as just one step in the direction of building the temple?
It's a huge step. It's not just a step. It's a huge step because it is a step that is bringing together the biblical narrative, the narrative of Esav and Yaakov, the two brothers that were split thousands of years ago are now being brought together again, and this is all part of the biblical narrative. We believe that this is a huge step to the recognition of Jerusalem, of Israel, and the rebuilding of our Third Temple.
How is it going to be conducted? On the same location where the Mount Sharif is?
There's only one place that it can be done in the whole world, and that is the place of the Temple Mount. That's why it's called the Temple Mount, and of course that's where it's going to be.
So how is it going to happen?
How is it going to happen?
Yeah.
That we're going to leave part of it up to God, but I can tell you clearly that the Al-Aqsa Mosque a NASA administrator suspended after claims of an imminent alien invasion before 2025. The highest-ranked official of National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, Charles Bolden, was put on sick leave for 6 months after he publicly declared that an extraterrestrial invasion would take place before 2025. A veteran of 4 space flights aboard the shuttles Columbia, Discovery, and Atlantis, Bolden has logged over 680 hours in space and is the administrator of NASA since 2009. So he's very reputable. He's been with NASA for quite some time. He shocked many people during a conference in Houston on Saturday by declaring that it's only a question of months, maybe years, before technologically advanced aliens invaded our planet. There are many scary things out there, and some of them probably already taken notice of our existence, Mr. Bolden said. We have estimated that there are at least 30,000 other civilizations in the universe. We've been active in outer space for decades, so we've certainly already attracted the attention of at least one of them.
In power of not only our country, but all the countries on the planet, and who are the true purveyors of the depopulation process, have formulated the final stage of their sinister plan. In the year 2024, a global event will alter the course of mankind's future. The world will stand witness to a massive alien invasion. Thousands of projected holographic alien warships will blanket the skies, sending people into a global panic. Real military crafts within the holograms will inflict actual damage to the surrounding areas to sell the gimmick. And as a result of the ensuing human chaos, a one-world government will immediately form without any resistance from the people. They will be the New World Order. Once this happens, we as a people will be doomed to enslavement and